I'm done with all inquiries. You can't have an answer or a question from the mind. You can't answer anything from the mind. I'm about to have the best breakfast of my life. You know why? Because every moment is the best moment of my life. I've been reading comic books. Because concepts don't do anything to me anymore. It's up to the mind. Vanish. All the sensations, they liberate themselves the moment it arises. It's the moment it disappears. And before enlightenment, you're like, I don't want to let go of my mind. This and that. What if I lose the desire to do this and that and be this and that? All that completely evaporates, dissolves instantly in the moment of enlightenment. And let me tell you, there are awakenings and there are awakenings, the enlightenment experiences. The enlightenment experiences, all that congeal and convert into a singularity of enlightenment. And in that moment, you just know. Because everything is enlightenment. And being awakened, 99.9999%, and being enlightened is quantum. The leap is quantum. Great. So good. Just went to the gym. If the weights just lift themselves. Without the musician, the music keeps on. Keeps playing. Someone on Instagram asked me about death. Also, this thing transcends life and death because life and death exist inside space-time. Immortality or mortality is also a concept inside space-time. See, before awakening, you're like, what happens to me when I die? They say that you return to infinite consciousness. Then what happens to the character? That question completely dissolves. I am already in that state, infinite consciousness. I am infinite consciousness 24/7. Has been since day one, and so have you. and the character was never even here. Like that question, that doesn't make sense to me anymore. What if you die and then there's just nothing? There's not even infinite consciousness. There's just nothing. Well, first of all, if there's just nothing, you're not going to be there to experience it. So what's the point of asking? And I go there every day in my meditation. Oh yeah. One of the characteristics of enlightenment is that fruitions come to the character. He doesn't go for it anymore. Fruitions are also known as cessation or nirvana. I've talked about this before. Extinction, blowing out, is the highest meditation absorption possible. And it's basically leaving the matrix and coming back. If there's still a sense of perception or a sense of nothingness, emptiness, then you're not there yet. Because it's more empty than empty. Even consciousness is impermanent. The first time I got my first session was during my meditation retreat, the second one. And before that, I ran through all 8 jhanas. And it took me 5 years to do that. But now, whenever I sit down, sometimes I'm not even meditating, and then I'll just blink in and out of existence. I'll just get fruition, like 5 times in like an hour. And it's like, I'm able to do that now because once you access a state of mind through meditation, it's yours to keep. You have access to all 8 jhanas like that, like flipping through a TV channel. It's amazing. Like my mind is in this place where it's just like indescribable. It's so powerful. But then it's not even my mind anymore. It's the quote unquote God mind. And it's like I'm always in the brink, in that thin line that is not even existing anymore between existence and non-existent. I'm always ready to blink out and in and out and in of existence. The line between life and death is paper thin, feather light. And I feel like, I don't know, man. So the reason why a cessation, nirvana experience or non-experience is so important is because that gives you all the insights that you need for the next 100 lifetimes. You watch in real time how the self or reality or the entire universe disappear, and then it reconstructs itself. And that gives you insight into impermanence, no self, suffering. Some teachers say that without a cessation, there's no actual awakening. And some teachers disagree with that. I have no idea because I can't speak from other people's experience. All I know from my personal experience is that after you get a cessation, your mind is permanently rewired and reset. Each time you have a major cessation, after a major macro cycle of going into the dark night, arising and passing, equanimity, whatever you want to call it, there's a map for this. And this map is not just a Buddhist map, it's universal. If you look up any religion, even movies, music, even just day-to-day life, you cycle through those insights. It's universal. Even soldiers go through those insights. A lot of people just stop right before a cessation. They think they've got it because right before cessation, you go in this peaceful state of equanimity. Like, it does feel like you're enlightened. It does feel like you're awakened. But without that cessation, at least from my personal experience, the brain doesn't reset. After a cessation, it's like you perpetuate yourself. The character is ejaculated into a different whole new reality. He never looks back. I mean, you've pushed the mind as far as you can go. There's nothing after nothingness. You're not even there. And after that, the meditator, there's no meditator. Right now, when I sit down, there's no meditator. It's just empty space vibrating through all the 360-degree direction. And it's just like the whole universe is just like meditating to itself. It's not even meditating anymore because it always is. It's just always doing its thing. It's beautiful, fucking beautiful. So apparently Sam Harris in his book, Waking Up, he said that he tried 10 years, retreat, tried to get a cessation. He couldn't do it, so he gave up. But Sam Harris is pretty awoken. And his meditation app, probably one of the best gifts to the meditation world and to humanity in general. Send me a DM on Instagram if I haven't sent you the free invitation for the app. I've sent like, I think 300 people the app already. The Headless Way, do it. And it took me 5 years to get my first session, and it took my name from the net, my girlfriend, my guru, like a couple months of like 10 minutes a day practice. Everybody, due to wiring, whatever, karma, different pace. So I suspect, most people will be in the middle of the bell curve. So I don't know. It's a debate. Secession or not secession. Don't really care at this moment. Before I used to try so hard to be like, I gotta get a secession to confirm my attainment. So stupid. And this is what I think the difference is between psychedelics and meditation. Psychedelics can give you a glimpse of it, no doubt about it, a preview. But anything you can access, from my personal experience, with psychedelic, you can access it naturally. Psychedelics doesn't permanently change your brain. That's why you see a lot of people that take psychedelics and they come back to their self and they start intellectualizing. But then you ask them, what's your day-to-day, moment-to-moment experience like? If your moment-to-moment, day-to-day experience or consciousness, perception hasn't permanently been shifted, what's the point? My advice to people who are like in mid-path, I know it's hard. In mid-path, you just kind of want to quit because you're in that in-between state. One foot in emptiness, another foot in infinity. Finish the fucking job! Finish it! It's worth it. Worth 10,000 lifetimes. Kundalini awakening is only a means to an end. Kundalini awakening gives you kind of like superpower. It's kind of like a steroid for meditation. And that leads to stream entry, which is the first level of enlightenment. And then the difference between that, which happened a year ago, this whole year it's been totally fucking crazy, man. Like, fucking insane. I thought last year was crazy, but anyway, the difference between stream entry and what I experience right now is like 1% to like 1,000%. There's no level to this from this perspective.
Kundalini. I opened up my third eye and I'm seeing the wisdom eye. Holy shit, another level up.
You know, all the questions about levels of awakening, about paths, all the spiritual practices, all the divine spiritual texts, doctrines you've ever read in your whole life, all the techniques, they all completely become irrelevant in that instant. They dissolve. It doesn't mean that you can't do them anymore, you can't read spiritual texts anymore. They just, it's in a different plane. It just doesn't make sense anymore. I don't know anything, I don't know what I'm talking about. All I know is right here, this right here is totally infinite. Every particle is totally empty and full simultaneously. And just, there's no end to this. It's like, ooh, it's like perfection. Oh man, life is so good. Maybe tomorrow, I'll be the most depressed person in my life. It's suicidal. I don't fucking know. I don't fucking care. Yeah, awakening is not about the character waking up. Because there's never a seeker inside, never a meditator. Nobody inside. It's the field. You want to call it Brahma, you want to call it Dharma, you want to call it quantum field. It's that field that wakes up to itself, and it's always been awake. Every single particle has always been awake. Always. Not a single. There's not. I can't find a nano particle in my field of experience, both inside and outside, that's not totally fucking awake. And I'm not even looking. I'm not hearing anything. It's just the field, Godhead perceiving itself. All sensations, if I close my eyes, even open my eyes, every sensation is perceived simultaneously. By itself, through itself, as itself. Inside, outside, the Mitsu, same thing. Inside, outside, Mitsu, just holograms. There's no center to experience. How can there be a center when everything's infinite? And there is nobody watching anything from the inside anymore. It's like a new operating system that's 1,000 times better. And every action, right, just chewing this, my Mitsu, everything, every single mechanism in my Mitsu, even my brain, even the mind is part of the Mitsu, is the unfoldment of the whole universe. It's like dependent origination. So it's like, it's kind of frightening in the beginning. In the beginning, I was like, what the fuck? Like the character, I was like, dude, if you give this to the Frank Kane even like a year ago, he'll be like, what the fuck? If you give this to the Frank Kane like 5 years ago, he'll be like, what the? He'll be like, no, I don't want this ever again. I'm never gonna meditate. But if you've been preparing yourself for it, it's still a little bit creepy, but you get used to it. Daniel Ingram said that non-duality, or what I call non-locality right now, it's like beyond non-duality, is a quiet taste, a kind of fine wine. You gotta get used to it, and it deepens and deepens and deepens. Even though you crush your threshold, the way that the character aligns to it, you can deepen it. You can work on a lot of other things like compassion, but that's still just character stuff. But that doesn't mean that the character stuff isn't important. I guess you might call that integration. But the paradoxical thing is that after you get here, there's nothing to integrate. Whatever you want to integrate would automatically align itself. All the nukes and crannies of the remaining programmings that are still there will automatically get sucked into the Godhead without the character doing anything, because the character has never done anything in his life anyway. So it's just like, oh, the question about, shit, I'm going to spend 5 years integrating. No, there's nothing to integrate. I'm telling you. A lot of those things only make sense in retrospect. Before enlightenment, it's hard to put into words where I'm coming from. But it just makes perfect sense to me, everything I'm saying. I did upload my moment of Big Bang. I filmed it. See, a lot of people were like, before I was like, man, sharing those insights, it's kind of like, it's personal, it's very vulnerable to be sharing those things. That's why people don't talk about it. But I encourage people to talk about it. I think if you have attainment, come out and say it. If you're enlightened, say it. At that time, when you get to that stage, it just doesn't even fucking matter. Enlightenment, not enlightenment, all the same. And whether people believe you or not, all the same. Because you can't deny what's right here. Yeah, I think part of the reason my progress has been so rapid is because I share it. I share it with the world, and when people watch it, they have a new insight, a new breakthrough. You wake up the whole universe. Every time you sit, you're doing something good to the world, even just sitting there by yourself, because you're raising the vibration of the entire universe just by a little bit. And then, as you can see, because of the virus and the protests, all this crazy shit that's been going on in the world, a lot of people are actually waking up. Connor Murphy, a lot of my viewers sending me messages about their breakthroughs, popping their cherries, man, mental consciousness cherries popping all over the place right now. And what if you give out, you receive, and vice versa. Crazy feedback loop, and that's the nature of reality. It's a strange loop. Everything is strange loop. Everything is connected. Of course, if you wake up, the particle in that part of the universe is gonna wake up too. Quantum entanglement, because space and time is not the fundamental structure of reality. It's consciousness. Oh, it's not even consciousness. I don't even like the word consciousness or awareness anymore, because it doesn't even feel like I have consciousness or awareness anymore. All those words don't make sense anymore, because when you speak of consciousness, you're still presupposing that there's some kind of a fabric. That's mid-stage. That's gone. No bubbles. Things just happening by itself. Bare phenomenon is the same as awareness. It's the same as objects. It's hard to explain, but conclusion, everybody at the core is a fully enlightened Buddha. No question about it. No doubt about it. Even this, fully enlightened. It's me, it's you, fully enlightened. Namaste.